Welcome back to Season 2 of the 5-Star Counsel Podcast, the 5-Star Counselor Bootcamp. Over the next 6 weeks, in 12 episodes, I'm taking you step by step through my service framework. Every episode focuses on one key aspect of service, not only tackling common misconceptions about that aspect, but also giving you clear takeaways and tactical exercises for you to do on your own. This will help you develop service in your firm so that it works for you, your employees, and your clients. I'll help you build the firm clients rave about because you, your clients, and your employees are happier, leading to more referrals, repeat business, and 5-star reviews. Let's get started. Welcome back to 5-Star Counsel. This time, we're talking about that thing that we never want to talk about. What happens when mistakes happen? I know, we're all risk-averse pessimists as lawyers, and we think that we'll never ever make a mistake because we are so careful and we think so much about what we're doing. We're the experts who can see around corners, so we're going to see those mistakes and errors coming from miles away. But you and I know that that is not the reality we live in. Mistakes are going to happen, and knowing that they're going to happen, we're going to need to think, how do we respond to them? What will we do when those mistakes happen? When I worked at the Four Seasons, mistakes were inevitable. We even had a name for it. They were called glitches. Every day we would have glitch reports. If something went wrong, that person was responsible for typing up a short description of what happened, why it went wrong, and how the guest was feeling so we knew what, if anything, needed to be followed up on. Was room service a few minutes late? Write it up. That's a glitch. Even if everything is fine, we still want to document why it happened and what needs to be done to avoid that mistake in the future. Then at the morning meeting, where all the managers would get together every day of the week to go over what was happening in the hotel that day, the glitches would be reviewed from the prior day. If there were a lot of glitches because the hotel was busy and a lot of things had gone south just by basic numbers, we still had to go through them. Sometimes it was easy. We had a great day in the hotel. But it was truly rare to have a day where in that hotel with 291 rooms, nothing went wrong. And that's part of the lesson. Things are going to go wrong. You're going to drop the ball one way or another. You have set out your own standards, and you're going to miss them for whatever reason. Just thinking to my own firm, over the last week, my associate attorney had COVID. She was out of commission for the better part of a week. This threw off our delivery timeline for a lot of documents. It happens. What we did, we took care of our clients. And that's what we're going to do today. So knowing that we're going to have to make apologies, we want to make sure that we're making the most of this and showing clients that we still care. Remember, it's not just saying you're sorry. It's making sure you know that you've taken care of your client. So in any situation where things have gone wrong, there are 3 things you're going to want to do. First, apologize and acknowledge the mistake. I'm sorry this happened. I apologize that we dropped the ball on this. Don't try and minimize what your client already knows. Just come out and say it. After you've acknowledged the mistake and taken ownership for it, you then need to empathize with your client by showing you understand how this mistake has affected them. They've come to you for a result. If you've dropped the ball, their result is one step further away from them. So acknowledging how this will affect them will help you because it puts you in the right frame of mind. If your client has been delayed because you didn't get something out on time, acknowledge, I understand that we are behind on schedule for you. I understand that you want to get this done before you leave town next week. I understand that your goal is to make sure that this divorce is finalized so that you can enjoy the holidays. Whatever it is, show that you understand why this project is important to your client. Third and finally, you need to show how you're not only going to apologize for the mistake, but make it right. This is important. You're not just acknowledging that something went wrong, but how are we going to correct it? We're not going to pass the buck anywhere else. We're going to just say, this is what we're going to do. If you're behind on something, when can they expect that to be completed? If you owe them draft documents, when will they see those draft documents? If they've emailed and you haven't responded, when can they expect a full response? I'd rather you respond with a quick, I'm sorry I've been slammed. I know you need an answer. Let's talk tomorrow. just giving them the certainty of when they can get their clarity and their results is what they're looking for. Take that question out of their mind. Here's one of the magic phrases that I learned at the hotel. I'm sorry this happened, but there's nothing I can say right now that will undo what has happened. What can we do to make this better? Of course, in the hotel context, this made sense. If we were late on something, if we couldn't get you into a room on time, sometimes we couldn't figure out exactly what it was that the client needed. While you may not want to translate this directly into your practice, it is a helpful way of thinking about how can you help the client get their result. If just getting the draft deeds or the draft documents to them is all you need to do, then just do it. Clients probably don't need anything else other than that. But if you need to go further, then you're going to have to talk to your client and figure it out. This may not be the best thing to do by email. Picking up the phone and actually having a conversation with your client may make it easier to figure out how you can right this situation. So as we look to close this episode, what are our exercises? Well, you know your practice. You know where things go wrong in ways that upset you, your staff, or your clients. Start with the top 3 things that go wrong for your clients. Identify how that can go wrong and how you should be responding when things go wrong. If you're commonly seeing that you're behind on drafts, if you're overpromising your delivery dates, how can we fix that? Well, first, acknowledge that you have an issue with overpromising on when you'll get drafts out to clients. This is something that I've struggled with my entire career. I want people to get their documents as soon as possible so we can get them through this process. This has led to situations where I'd say I'll have something sooner than I actually can get it to them. But first, recognizing that this can be an issue and then knowing what are reasonable deadlines to set in terms of getting things to clients. This helps solve the problem because I'm not putting myself in a situation where I've overpromised. This overpromising is something that people really need to watch out for. Know what your limitations are and know that if you're getting into a situation over and over again, maybe you need to adjust how you respond to it. Saying instead that you'll have it by the end of the week instead of by the end of the day will give you the breathing room and still let the clients know when they should expect something. If you say the end of the week, be sure you're being clear on is that end of Friday or end of Sunday. Once you've identified where these common mistakes are, again, we're looking to minimize how these happen in the future. Changing your verbiage, adjusting your own expectations for yourself will help mitigate these problems. Once you've identified what these problems are, work with your staff to role play on how these happen and then how they can help solve these. Going back to our episode with Lee Cockrell, the best ideas aren't all in your head. Lee's advice was to ask both your clients and your staff how to solve things and how to make things better. When it comes to solving these common problems, your staff probably has insights that you don't as to how you can make the problems disappear. It doesn't mean they get to say, we're not doing this anymore, but they may have ideas on how to better resolve these issues before they occur. So don't forget to talk to them not only about how to respond to these mistakes, but how the process can be adjusted so they don't occur in the first place. Remember, mistakes will happen. It's okay. We need to understand that because these will happen, we want to be prepared for them. But we don't want to just accept that mistakes are going to happen. We want to be proactively planning for how to respond to them when they happen and how to minimize them from happening in the future. Thanks so much for listening. You can find more info on us and get your free white paper on client service at 5starcouncil.com. You can get in touch with me at john@5starcouncil.com. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe wherever fine podcasts are found and leave us a review wherever you can.